Hi, since I couldn't get um I can't talk. Since I couldn't get on Zoom, apologies. Um I'm going to just make a video that's going to kind of walk you through. So when you are looking to write a unit plan, one of the things that you want to do is start with that standard, and we're talking about the power standard, meaning what is going to be your major writing in the course of your unit. So here I'm going to you're going to hit other standards along the way, the reading, literacy, information standards, but you want to pick out the writing that you're going to work on so that you can have students work towards that. So here's an example of something that I do. One of the things that I do, of course, is I decide like what standard I want them to work on, and then I write a summative assignment that assesses that standard. So lately, in quarter two for my class, we will be working on writing arguments. And this is the wording of the standard: write arguments to support claims and analysis of substantive topics or texts using valid reasoning and relevant and sufficient evidence. Here is the summative that I came up with. Many people spend long hours trying to achieve perfection in their personal or professional lives. Similarly, people often demand perfection from others, creating expectations that may be challenging to live up to. In contrast, some people think perfection is not attainable or desirable. Write an essay that argues your position on the value of striving for perfection. You can then see what needs to be included in the response. Um, Once we have our summative and we know where we're going, this is going to make it so much easier to write our unit plan, because then what we need to do is to make sure that we are teaching them things that's going to help them be successful. Here are some of the things that I came up with of what I think they need to be able to do in order to be successful in that type of summative. Define perfection. You could use different readings. I would always say make sure you use a long text, so a novel or just a longer nonfiction piece. How to write an argumentative thesis statement. So we need to make sure that they are writing that. It has to be defensible and take a position. They have to work on selecting relevant details and text-based evidence. This is difficult for students. They're very good at picking out evidence, but sometimes they're not really good at picking out relevant evidence. They need to know the difference between objective and subjective writing. They need to know how to format an essay, and that needs to be whatever to your specifications. I, of course, like an intro. I want body paragraphs. I don't care about conclusions, but I always teach them how to write it because at some point they will need to learn how to write it. They need to learn how to write an intro for an argument. They need to learn how to write a conclusion for an argument. They need to incorporate text evidence. So what they need to make sure I'm going to have to teach them is how to embed quotes using MLA formatting. Talk about reasoning and what commentary looks like when you have evidence and you're using that evidence. How are you then using commentary and reasoning? How do they use works cited? And then finally, peer review, and what should that look like? This is something that I'm now going to use to create my unit plan. I'm going to show you, and I can probably share my back map for this type of summative. And I will make sure that it is I will put it in here so that you can see it. Just so you can see how I kind of work backwards from there. Hopefully this is helpful, and I apologize about not getting on.